Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Mike Chase here, back on Madden 23, back on franchise mode, but not the Seahawks franchise mode. Bad news, that file is basically corrupted. I'm not sure what's wrong with, or what was wrong with it. I couldn't advance. I don't know what it was. Game kept crashing every time I tried to advance. Super Sim something, it would crash. I'd just try playing the game. Eventually it would crash. I'd advance a week, it would crash. So I don't know what was up with that file. I don't know. So gonna have to start a new series here. Still want to do something here with Madden 23 in the last few months of it before we start getting information on Madden 24. Still a few months away from that, but still need to do something here on the channel. So we're gonna be doing a series here, a franchise series. A lot different than anything I've ever done before. We're going to be doing a fantasy draft series. Now, what team am I going to use? It doesn't really matter necessarily what team you use for a fantasy draft because none of the players on the current roster are going to still be there. But we're going to go with the Packers here. We're going to go with a fantasy draft. Should be a lot of fun. Maybe might be some fun. I'm saying a lot of fun. I can't really guarantee that. But before we get into the draft, be sure to hit like, be sure to hit subscribe, leave comments, thumbs up, thumbs down, emojis if you're happy about the Seahawks franchise file being basically corrupted and no longer working. So first pick here, we get our pick of the litter. Not really, actually, we're picking at 29, so all the 99s are gone. What are we going to do here? And we're looking around. I'm looking at left ends. Brian Burns is there. Chase Young, Gregory Rousseau. Some pretty good. I'm not sure why I said Gregory Rousseau. I wouldn't take him that early. But we're just looking around here, trying to find really some decent players. And I also want young players, right? I want some young guys here. And we're looking around here at the right outside linebackers. Some of these guys are, if I were to play in a 3-4, which I likely will, just because I find it easier to build in a 3-4. Some of those guys would probably be drafted as outside linebackers, and then I would convert them to middle linebacker. But we're going to go with Rashawn Gary. We're going to keep Rashawn Gary in Green Bay. They say it's a reach, but I think Rashawn Gary, good age. Also, we're not using pre-existing injuries, so he doesn't have that pesky torn ACL that he has in real life, so we get him. I accidentally skip ahead in the draft because I assumed it wasn't my pick yet for some reason. I just assumed that I was on the Rams pick or something. I'm not sure why I did that, but I did, and the game made a pick for us, of course, because I messed up actually and accidentally went and did that. But it took Kyle Pitts for us, which isn't all that bad actually. I'll take Kyle Pitts. Probably way too early to be taking a tight end in a fantasy draft, I assume, but we're going to do something that I'm sure people who watch fantasy draft content are going to rip, because apparently this is like I didn't know there was like a fantasy draft almost like community, almost, if you will, who like really study how to do fantasy drafts. Somewhat interested in seeing that, but I'm going to take my quarterback here, and the quarterback I'm going to take is going to be Jordan Love. We're going to go with Jordan Love right here. Our third pick of the fantasy draft. 67 overall, normal dev, mega reach, mega reach. This is a reach of all reaches. But we're gonna take him. We also take Larry Tunsil here. A little bit of a reach, but 28 and linemen don't really regress all that much in Madden, so I'm fine with that pick. Then we're going to go with some youth here. We're going to go with Creed Humphrey. A little bit of a reach, but we're just going to take him right now. I want to have a pretty good offensive line that can run block and all that other good stuff, because that's what we want to do. We want to run the football, which is weird because I haven't taken a running back yet, but there's so many good running backs, I can wait to take one. We're going to take Jerry Jeudy right here. I know the Broncos keep trying to trade him for some reason. I'm not really sure why the Broncos want to trade Jerry Jeudy so badly, but it's like they're dying to trade him. We're going to take a cornerback here. It's going to be Charvarius Ward. I probably could have got someone with some dev traits, but he's 26, 86 overall. I think that's a fine pick. We're going to come right back again. We're going to take another cornerback, actually. And this one is going to be Tariq Woolen. If you remember him, he was great for us in the Seahawks franchise. 23 years old, 6'4", and is a amazing athlete. So Tariq Woolen, 81 overall this time. I don't think he ever got to that high overall for us because he was a later mid-round guy. So he kind of came in with low ratings. Good physicals, but his rating's kind of hard to get up if he's not exactly making plays all the time. We're going to take Christian Watson here, another guy that we're going to keep in Green Bay. Christian Watson, speedster, deep threat. Always good to have, especially for a team that wants to run the football and set up play action. I think it makes a lot of sense. We're going to take TJ Edwards here, our first inside linebacker at this point in the draft. And TJ Edwards was a guy that I wanted the Packers to draft. They don't do that. They don't do smart things too often. Now we're going to take a safety here. And I thought about Daxton Hill, but we're going to go with Lewis Seen, actually. Yeah, why not go with Lewis Seen? Don't want to take exactly retreads from the Seahawks franchise. We'll take Lewis Seen here. See how he works out for us. Comparable age, comparable overall, likely. So we'll just take Daxton Hill right there. Pretty easy pick. Gonna take another left tackle in Tyler Smith. Now Tyler Smith will probably play at the right tackle spot. So I think that kind of works out for us. We get two really good tackles. And yeah. And then we're going to take Talona Hufka. I hope that's how you pronounce that. But we're going to take him. Strong safety. I wouldn't say that's much of a reach. 83 overall, 22 years old. Really good player. Made a lot of plays for the 49ers. And we're going to bring him in. Then we're going to take Shaq Leonard. Shaq Leonard's a guy that I will probably move to middle linebacker. I don't do it in this video, but I'll probably do it at least before we start playing games. So I think we get our starting linebacker not super late, middle part of the draft. We get him. So I think that's a really good pick. Baron Browning, edge player. I think that's a pretty easy pick for us to make right there. Now we're going to take our first running back, Brian Robinson Jr. I think this is a really good pick for us. Probably going to be our starting running back. Then we're going to take some sort of interior offensive lineman here in this kind of middle part of the draft. You know, I probably took these guys a little bit too early. I probably could have got some more receivers. So I probably missed out on some guys taking these guys. But I just want to get a somewhat decent offensive line built up. Because the few times I've done fantasy drafts from previous Maddens, I always kind of forget about that and have a terrible offensive line. So kind of didn't want that to happen here. We're going to take Donovan Peoples-Jones. So our receiving core is looking pretty good so far, actually. Jerry Jeudy, Christian Watson, and Donovan Peoples-Jones. That's pretty nice here. Looking on here at some defensive tackles. Aleem McNeil. Looks like a pretty good player. Young player, has really good potential. We're going to take him here. They say that's a reach. I don't think so. Young player, should be pretty good for us. Another middle linebacker. We have some pretty good inside linebacker depth, honestly. And that's going to be Leo Chanel here. Another guy that I wanted the Packers to take. I think he's a pretty good athlete. I think he has a lot of potential moving forward. He was pretty good for the Chiefs in real life. So we're going to take him. And he's going to be a Packer, like he should have been. Drake Jackson. Edge rusher, really good. They say that's a reach, but only by like 3. Pretty good athlete, so I think he could be an interesting player for us. Provide some good depth for us, I think. So we come back here again, looking around, and we're going to take a backup running back here. That's going to be former Green Bay Packer Jamal Williams. He's technically higher rated than Brian Robinson Jr., but he'll probably be a third down back for us. Brian Robinson Jr. will probably get the majority of the snaps, but Jamal Williams will come in and kind of be that maybe goal line guy every now and then for us. Going to take another corner here, and this is going to be Michael Carter. Good athlete, young player, a lot to build on here, good ratings. I think this pick makes a lot of sense, so we'll take him right there. He'll be our CB3. Still looking around here, you know, needing to kind of build up our defensive line a little bit more depth. Technically, James Houston, he looks more of like an actual edge player, but it's Madden. He has good finesse moves at a 70. I would say that's all right, and really other good things as well, so we'll take him. Also going to take Logan Hall here a bit. I don't think that's too much of a reach. The other guy just will provide depth for us, and I think that's really good to have. Gonna take another receiver here. This one's going to be Tyquan Thornton, and should be our wide receiver 4. Another kind of rush type guy, can maybe be kind of a normal defensive end. Can kind of do it all. Peyton Turner, I think that's a good pick for us. We're going to take another tackle here. Want to have tackle depth as well. That's always important to have because, like I said, I don't think I've actually said, I'm not sure I said like I said, but, you know, tackles do tend to get injured in Madden games. Offensive linemen get injured. We're going to take Graham Gano. I believe Justin Tucker was already gone at this point. We're going to take Shai Tuttle as well. Just a decent defensive tackle. AJ Cole, punter with superstar dev. Those guys are kind of hard to find, honestly, so we'll take him. And then we're going to simulate the rest of the draft. And I'm not going to exactly show you everything, but look at that. I think we did okay here. I think our offensive line looks pretty good. You know, we're going to have some youth on this, on our guard position, honestly. We have Zach Gentry here, who ended up being our tight end 3. We might put Juszczyk in there to be our tight end 3. We do have Kyle Juszczyk. That's a pick I made. But then you see, I think we have a decent receiving core here. Honestly, I think that's something to build on. Cam Newton as the backup. Looks pretty good, honestly. Creed Humphreys here as the center. Then we take a look here at the defense. Remember, Shaq Leonard is probably going to be moved to sort of that inside linebacker role. And then we'll have Browning over there starting where Shaq Leonard is. So just remember that. We're looking at this current depth chart. This isn't final. I'll definitely go in here and change a lot of this. But yeah, defensive line is not great. I'm going to be honest with you. Probably that's where we maybe messed up here on the draft, is that defensive line. I think our cornerback room looks pretty decent. Treverius Ward, Tariq Woolen, Michael Carter, Janoris Jenkins. And that's pretty good cornerback depth, honestly. Some good athletes on there. And Jenkins should have that sort of mentor tag on him. Also took Kazyon Nixon. Good return man for the Packers. So decided to keep him in Green Bay. And you see Browning, he's already our rush right end. So he'll probably be our starting right outside linebacker for us moving forward. Got some other guys on here too who should be pretty interesting to see how they play and develop moving forward. So I think we did an okay job for my first time doing one of these fantasy drafts. I think we did an okay job. I know some people are like really good at this, and I'm not. So we take a look around here. Kyler Murray ends up with the Panthers. Patrick Mahomes ends up with the Patriots. Take a look here where all these quarterbacks kind of ended up. That's kind of where people, you know, that's the Raiders. They get Josh Allen. Aaron Rodgers ends up in LA as a Ram. With Desmond Ridder backing him up. Sam Darnold, sorry Ravens fans, you end up with Darnold. Still keep Tyler Huntley though. Jared Goff ends up with the Saints along with Carson Wentz. Jimmy G goes to Seattle. Davis Mills ends up in Pittsburgh. They don't really have a great quarterback situation there. And take a look here at Ryan Tannehill, a bunch of mid, I would suppose. Then Brock Purdy with the Titans, along with Jacoby Brissett. Vikings end up with Justin Herbert, which is a pretty massive upgrade for them. They get a big-time upgrade. The Bears, they get kind of an upgrade here with Dak, but he's 29, and he'll probably start regressing because Madden's regression is a little too extreme. Bengals end up with Mac Jones. The Bills end up with mid. The Broncos take 2 quarterbacks. They take Jalen Hurts and then Kirk Cousins, but Cousins, he's 34. He'll regress pretty quickly. The Browns, they end up with Joe Burrow, so they get an upgrade, I would say. The Buccaneers end up with Tua, which I guess, you know, since Brady's going to retire, makes sense. And then the Cardinals, they get Lamar Jackson. Baker ends up in with the Chargers, so the Chargers get a downgrade. Chiefs fans, they get a downgrade here. They get Russell Wilson. Justin Fields ends up with the Colts, maybe where he should have ended up anyways. Trey Lance ends up in Washington. The Cowboys, I'm not sure what they were doing, but they didn't take any quarterbacks. Daniel Jones goes to Miami along with Malik Willis. The Eagles end up with Deshaun Watson. Pray for the women of Philly. They already have it rough enough. Now they got Deshaun Watson roaming the streets. Zach Wilson heads to the ATL. Kenny Pickett ends up in San Francisco along with Mariota and Montez. Tom Brady goes to New York with the Giants for one last run probably. And the Jaguars, they keep their quarterback. Maybe the Jaguars keep Trevor Lawrence. Like, nope, you're not going anywhere. So they keep Trevor Lawrence. Derek Carr ends up with the Jets to be a Hall of Famer. The Lions take Geno Smith, who now has the franchise quarterback tag. I question why he would be given that, honestly. And then Packers still here with Jordan Love. So next video, we're going to come back. We're going to fix up the roster a little bit, set our season goals, choose our draft class, upgrade some players, then we're going to play this first game against the Minnesota Vikings. So I'm sorry to those of you who were enjoying the Seahawks franchise. Madden decided that was going to come to an end early this year. Really sorry about that. Kind of out of my control. But hopefully you'll stay and watch this series. And if you're new to the channel, because not everyone who watches these videos is subscribed, if you enjoyed what you see and you want to see more, be sure to hit like, be sure to hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. The link is in the description below. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace. Have a good day.